started the Personalized Fitness Podcast to deal with dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. And that deals basically with questions that we get on a regular basis from running into people, talking to people. There are a lot of questions dealing with health, fitness, and wellness. What you may not realize is that we get a lot of those questions on a daily basis from all of our clients. And I thought it'd be a fantastic idea to have our exercise specialist, Katie Carey, come on today to talk to us about questions we get from clients today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. I'm Garrett Williamson, your host, president of Personalized Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us today. And with us today to answer some of these questions that clients get all the time is exercise specialist Katie Carey. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Glad to have you here. So before we dive into these, I want to tell you how to get in touch with us because of, well, exactly what we're covering in this show, and that is the multiple questions we get about health, fitness, and wellness. And if you have any questions concerning that or concerning this podcast, or as always, you have any questions about dispelling myths in health, fitness, and wellness, and you'll actually see that show up today, please contact us, area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach out to me at my email address, which is Garrett, Garrett, at personalizedfitness.com. That is also our website and our Facebook page. Hit me up on Twitter at Team PE. And speaking of questions, actually, Katie came to me with this idea because of the questions that she's getting from clients, and she seems to be. You were telling me you were getting like a lot of the same questions.
Yeah, a lot of you have been asking, similar questions, and I think they're worth answering to the general public. So
exactly so. Well, and actually reviewing your notes on this. I was saying, okay, yeah, it's funny. I'm amazing you thought of this because these are a lot of the same questions that I get. But you're right. I get these questions in consultations.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it even before people get into workout. Or if being an exercise specialist, when you're out and about,
yeah,
people find out what you do.
Right.
You're getting those questions too, right?
All the time.
And it's funny because a lot of them are, hey, look, I'm looking for this answer. And if you're not watching this on social media, you're not seeing that I'm actually holding my fingers about 1.5 inches apart because we're looking for this small, quick. My question only involves just this much,
right?
This much information, and actually, it's usually a deeper dive.
Right. We need a lot more time to talk about it.
So, in fact, an entire podcast.
Right. A whole podcast for questions.
All right. Fire away. What are some of the questions that you get on a regular basis? So.
Of course. I have a few topics today. We're going to cover like water, weight loss, workouts, stretching, and soreness. Those seem to be the ones that like come up the most.
Awesome topics. A lot of them that we've covered here on the show, but you'll see now the questions that we get about those.
Right. The questions. Let's start with weight loss. I get a lot of questions.
A good
around,
one, especially this time of the year.
Can I target weight loss and where I lose weight? The answer is no. Unfortunately, we cannot just pick, I want to lose weight here or I want to lose weight here. It does not work like that. I wish it did. Trust me.
There's actually a term for that. And it's known as spot reduction, and that's a common question we get. And no matter what, I had a client for years that would ask me that question in a variety of ways. And I answered it so many times that she actually told me, no, I'm not talking about like spot reducing. I'm just talking about changing the shape of this area right here. And that was spot reduction. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So we can't do spot reduction.
Right.
Why not?
Just doesn't work like that. Your body's going to burn fat from wherever it wants to burn fat from. It picks, your body picks, you don't.
Exactly.
I actually went through a weight loss journey myself where I lost about 70 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And it was interesting watching the different areas where I lost weight. My arms were the first thing that I lost weight on. And
right.
Unfortunately, my hips were the last.
Yeah.
So
common problem, but as you well know,
yeah.
It has to do with one thing. It has to do with body type, ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph body type. Excuse me. Where you've probably heard this before, men are built like apples, women are typically built like pears, and it's where the good Lord decided, okay, look, this area needs to be protected, and that's where it's going to carry the body fat, and so you may gain it disproportionately, but you're going to lose it equally.
Yep.
around the body. So yep, as she says, begrudgingly, yes,
Yep.
exactly.
It
It
does
frustrates
work like
us
that.
too. I mean, we're human. We're in the same. Listen, I can tell all that stuff to my clients, but I want to know how to lose this area, this spot,
Right,
this
this
here,
exact spot. Like, I want it gone right here. How do I do it?
If it makes you feel any better, we have those same wants and desires. I guarantee you. So it's not like we're holding the secret from you. I promise
Right.
you.
No, I'd give it to you if I had it.
Okay, we could be here all day on that one just out of frustration. So let's step on. What else do we have?
Yeah, of course. How much weight loss is okay to lose per week?
Ooh.
Now, everything out there is going to tell you 1 to 2 pounds per week is for like sustainable weight loss. If you're looking to like get it off, keep it off, that's a lifestyle change. 1 to 2 pounds per week is where we should be. Personally, though, I was losing it a little bit faster, and everything is going to be, independent and individualized for that person.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, definitely, and it's much like we approach designing a fitness program.
Right.
We tell people that all the time. In fact, I tell them at every consultation that we have as many different programs as we do people, because your body's different. For instance, we had a client start with us today, as a matter of fact, and has a medial meniscus tear. We've seen that 1,000 times. I've got one myself. I mean, that's very familiar. We have not seen her medial meniscus tear. So when our athletic trainer, Gary Zakutin, he's actually doing an evaluation, he's looking at her. He knows what the situation is, but he doesn't know her situation. It's different. Yeah. And so it's the same thing when it comes to weight loss. You're exactly right. So is it safe to go over 1 to 2 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
You can definitely. And there were weeks where, I'd see a 5-pound fluctuation, but it also depends, like, how much are you eating that week? How much water are you drinking? Water weight plays a big role into that. Are you working out a lot more than normal that week? And then on the flip side of that, I had weeks where I was only losing maybe 0.5 pound, or even I put on some weight.
Right.
Don't let that slow you down. Don't let that discourage you. It happens. There's weeks where you're not going to see any progress. You may even go a little bit backwards. It's okay.
Well, and it also plays into, like you're saying, it depends on how much you've had to work out, and digestion plays a role in that.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, I talked about this in the when I did the podcast on weight, and weight is the gravitational pull of the earth on your body, and it's a great thumbnail way of, hey, how fit am I? But I would bet when you went through your own journey, that at the beginning you're seeing chunks drop. And then as you got closer to your goal, or closer to that magic number, or closer to that your ultimate number, that's when it probably got frustrating.
Right, for sure. And we definitely had those ups and downs.
Yeah. And what's going on there is, as Katie well knows, that what's going on at that point is that especially if you're working out, now you're gaining muscle. If you're doing resistance training, you're gaining some muscle, and you may still be losing fat, and you probably are still losing fat. And the difference between how much muscle you're gaining and how much fat you're losing is the amount of quote unquote weight loss. So y'all have heard me say this several times before. You know this individual. I'm not gonna mention a name here because he'll get mad if I say his name here. But it's a Eastern Shore client of ours. And he's really small. I call him tiny, and that's a joke. But actually lost 50 pounds of fat in 3 months, and he gained 50 pounds of muscle. So his weight stayed exactly the same. And I actually had a client of ours that competes for Team USA and go from 125 to 125, in 2 months' time. But when we did the body fat measurements, they were drastically different.
Yeah.
Dropped a lot of body fat.
Glad that you brought up, body fat measurements, because that's like the best way for us to measure health and overall weight, fitness. The scales that you see online are not accurate. According to them, I should be 150 pounds. I am a 6-foot female. That's not realistic for me, especially with the muscle that I have on me as an athlete.
Okay,
so.
and if I didn't care about my all this equipment that I would drop the mic on that one. And that's something we talk about quite often, and that is that what you're talking about, those scales online. The vast majority, I'm guessing, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but BMI?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Amen to you. I didn't tell her to say that. I was asking, you saw that. So, but I did a whole podcast on BMI is a lie. And that was the Quetelet Index that came up with, was designed by Adolpho Quetelet, who was a Frenchman, who was a mathematician, he was a statistician, and wanted a number to define what kind of shape he was in. And again, it is I say now, as far as measurement's concerned, it's the most dangerous one.
Oh, for sure.
Out there is body mass index.
Psychologically dangerous.
Period.
Yes.
Known as the Quetelet Index until my good friend, you've heard me talk about him several times, Angel Key, has decided, hey, that looks like a good measurement, since he knew nothing about exercise physiology either, and termed it the body mass index.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went up way off on a
You are
plan, but I
okay.
appreciate you saying that. Definitely so. Okay, so what else do we have?
Let's head into workouts. One question I get is, how many days a week should I be working out? The good answer is 3 to 5 days a week. They don't all have to be strength workouts though. And that kind of goes into my next question, is what type of workouts should I do on my extra days? Days that you're not scheduled, to work with us, come in, get a cardio session in. We'd love to see you, on your off days. We love to have you in here. But it's recommended for 150 minutes of moderate to light activity. So even if you don't come in and see us, go for a walk. Go outside,
exactly.
Get a walk. It's nice here, I promise. It's cold in New York where I'm from, so it's nice being able to go outside and walk.
Okay, so why that's a question we get a lot, and we have exercises that are making a major lifestyle change, and you've seen them.
Yeah.
That they're once they start really getting into it, they're past that 90 days, and they don't want to miss.
Right.
Because and the reason being is that, and you may experience this yourself, but you feel in control of your change, and one of the ways you really feel in control of your change a lot of time isn't with your nutrition, it's with your work that you're doing. In other words, going to the gym and working out. That's when you really feel in control. So you feel like, okay, I want to go and work out, and we'll see individuals doing resistance training, working the same muscles, what have you, day after day after day. Why do we not do that? Why do we not recommend that?
Right, because we don't want to cause any overuse injuries. We don't want to get into that overuse, overtraining period where now we have to stop what we're doing. We're going to see a regression in our progress.
True.
We're just really trying to avoid that overuse.
And those overuse injuries, we did a podcast on that also. The overuse injuries come from, that usually is a result of something going on here in your mind. And the desire, we've seen overuse injuries in people that suffer from anorexia and what have you. Yeah. And that you can easily, not so much eating disorders, but you can fall into that kind of an exercise disorder of,
I definitely did during my weight loss. I got stuck on that BMI number of 150, and I got down to 150, and there was nothing left. I felt awful. I had no energy during the day. It just wasn't for me. And you can go for that number and you can reach it and you can find out that it's not for you.
Exactly. Well, and I don't know how you felt about how you looked at that time, but when you hit that number, last thing you want to do is live there, I would guess.
Right. It was not satisfying for me. I found out that I actually wanted to go up another 15 to 20 pounds. Wanted to do it the right way and build the muscle on. But yeah, I look back and I'm like, wow, I was really, really thin. Right.
And in a dangerous territory, as you're saying. So then the problem there is, again, being obsessive about. I love you. Don't get me wrong about the word weight or using a scale when you first start, especially. It's a great rule of thumb. It's a great way to get an idea of where you are. We use it in our Catalyst program. We use it in our In It to Lose It program. But once you get to a certain point, that's where the gravitational pull of the earth on your body is not very important.
No, it goes back to how you look and how you want to feel.
Period. So, and you know better than anybody because you experienced it.
Yeah.
What else, though?
One of our favorite questions is, how many more reps do I have to do? Are you counting? Are you counting how many more reps?
Let's go ahead and tell the truth about, are you counting? Go ahead, answer that one.
You got 2 more.
We have a requirement here, and we it's tongue in cheek, of course, but we always tell everybody that we have a requirement here with hiring exercise specialists and hiring trainers on staff, and we've gotten very, very good. We have a fantastic staff, and I think it's added a lot to our culture. But the running joke that we tell clients is the fact that if we find out that a new instructor can actually count and keep all the numbers in order, that we won't hire them. So that's a
right. You can't count and talk.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
So all right, that one answered. Go back to what you were saying about the reps. So.
No, of course. One thing I was just gonna bring up is there's a different reps that will like program for you if you're looking for strength or if you're looking for power.
Right. Now these are definite.
No,
okay.
Recommended.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's why they're on a scale, So if we're training for strength, you're going to be looking in like the 6 to 12 range. That doesn't mean we're not going to bump you up to maybe 15, even 20. But if we're going for just strictly power, we're looking for 1 to 4 reps. So it's going to be a lot of weight and more reps. Now, strength and endurance, we're going to see maybe a lighter weight, but we're going like longer reps.
Now, that's a question I get quite often and about reps, but kind of added on to that.
Yeah.
Is that especially as time passes on the calendar and people get older, the belief is that you should only do, lightweight and high reps. That's it. Is that true?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I get that a lot. That I have questions about. That I get about higher reps and lower weight is the same as higher weight, lower rep. First thing, all that whole jargon is all relative, and that creates a belief system that if I'm doing a 15-pound curl at 12 repetitions, well then I can do a 5-pound curl for 15 repetitions and it's the same thing. Definitely not. So what is the reason for power heavy and short, and endurance for light and long?
Well, we're hitting different energy systems within the muscle, which is going to hit different muscle fibers.
Right.
Different twitch muscles.
Yeah.
We
fast switch, slow switch muscle.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, it really depends on, is this person running marathons? We do have some marathon runners that train with us. Or is this person, coming in to do classic Olympic lifts?
Right.
So.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. So what else we got?
All right, we're moving on to stretching. Everybody's favorite time of the workout is when we go to hit those mat tables and stretch.
That's
after
true,
they've asked us how many reps they've done.
That's actually true that everybody looks forward to the stretching
until we make them do abs before.
Right. Yeah. I have a client that always thinks that's a mean trick.
Right.
When I have the mat table, I'm done. No, we got ab work first.
You got to do the abs.
Exactly.
One thing I've been asked is, what does stretching do for me? So obviously stretching, we're going to increase that flexibility. We're increasing the range of motion. But along with that, there's a bunch of other benefits. 2 that I'm going to stress on is it increases our blood flow to our muscles, which is going to allow for better recovery. It also has stress relief,
Very much so.
Yeah. So stretching is good.
Absolutely.
We're not trying to hurt you. And going on with that, does stretching have to hurt? Stretching should not be painful. And by painful, I mean you should not have to go see a doctor for stretching.
Exactly.
It may be uncomfortable while we do it, but it should not be painful.
Well, in that's one of my favorite fortes. Having a background in gymnastics is working flexibility.
Yeah.
And we always stretch. Not before the session, we stretch at the end of the session,
right?
Correct? And the reason for that is that actually I've talked about this before. I always talk about give credit where credit's due. Dr. Mike Bracco of the Canadian Institute of Hockey and past president of American College of Sport Medicine came out with a fantastic study around 2014 talking about whether to stretch before or afterwards. And I know it was still within the margin of error, but they found out that actually you can increase injury by stretching before. But I love what you said about addressing it, and I get that question a lot too about whether or not it should hurt.
Yeah.
So, but pain is relative.
Correct.
Okay.
If you were raised by a Marine, pain is just weakness leaving the body.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
We're not quite going to that extreme. I promise you.
I promise.
But we even do this now more with our endurance training more than we use heart rate. We use kind of a RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion.
Right.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is this? And if you're really pushing that 8 territory and going higher, then that's painful. And it shouldn't. If you stretch too far, you can pull a muscle, which is why we do manual stretching. But the reason we do that, and the reason I caution anybody about taking manual stretching for anybody that doesn't have a degree in exercise physiology, is they don't know the anatomy. They don't know the actual tolerance of the muscle, and techniques like PNF stretching. Tough to learn in a weekend certification. So
Right,
to do it
for
correctly. So we do it day in and day out. I don't know, how many people did you stretch yesterday?
I have no idea. A lot.
Exactly. But hurts so good, right?
Hurts so good.
Yeah, that's what we should go for. Definitely. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally good. The next one I want to talk about is soreness. So leading right into
Speaking of pain.
Right. Speaking of pain, pain and stretching.
Right.
Should I be sore? So definitely for our new clients starting out, you're probably going to be sore for the first few sessions.
By the way, I'm going to clarify this as far as resistance training and working out, not just stretching. So,
not stretching. We're on to just general soreness now after working out with us.
Right.
There's a training adaptation that's going to happen within our muscles. They take a little while to adjust to this new stress that we've put them under. Resistance training is a stress on the body.
Right.
And it takes a little time to adapt to that. So you're going to be sore with that.
What is the soreness? What's causing that?
Yeah, so soreness is just small tears within our muscle tissue. When we're lifting weights, we're actually causing small tears within that muscle tissue. And then the soreness is our body trying to fix that. It's repairing it, and that's where we see the muscle growth. It's growing. It's repairing itself. It's growing.
Right.
We're filling in those little tears. And then with that, another question I get is, I used to be sore, but I don't get sore anymore. And why is that? And that's because that training adaptation finally happened.
Right.
Your body's finally used to the stress that you put it under with those muscles. Now I can have somebody that says that to me and put them on a new machine that they've never tried before, and bingo, there's our soreness. They haven't worked those muscles yet. Those muscles aren't used to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about what Katie's talking about as far as adaptation. When you start working out, you many times you will have that general soreness, and like you already described what that was. But all right, you've been working out for a while. Oh my gosh, I went and did this new exercise and I got sore again. Am I going backwards? And I like what you said about that. It is an adaptation. At the beginning, it's an adaptation. Then when you go to a new machine or a new exercise or moving the muscle in a different way, it's another adaptation.
Yep.
Now, it may not be as, I wouldn't say it would be as severe usually as like when you first start working out.
No.
So unless you really make your trainer mad. Now it can be very, very severe.
I did have a bad day where I put somebody on the hip abduction, and they hadn't done that one before. They were sore the next day.
I'm sure. So. I wouldn't doubt it. So. Well, but let's all right. Let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. When you've got because a lot of people are trying to avoid soreness, I understand. Right. But there are we have plenty of clients that are looking to make significant gains, that they're really wanting to make big gains or whatever, and that is their goal. Every week they want to get stronger and stronger, and in some cases some of our guys are literally bigger and bigger for that matter. All right, speak to soreness with them. So
for those people that have been lifting for a long time, just because you're not sore doesn't mean that you're no longer making that progress.
Right.
You can work out really well and not get sore, and that also has a lot to do with how you're recovering. Bingo. Are you drinking water? Are you eating your protein? Getting those nutrients back in your body after you work out, A big part of soreness is recovery. Are you stretching?
Right.
What are you doing to make your body feel better?
There's if you don't mind, I'm going to add on to that. So many people feel like that I'm not working out if I'm not sore.
Right.
I feel better that I'm sore. Well, the flexibility work that we do, if you're doing the things that we've recommended, which most of our clients are doing, well, then they wonder, well, why I'm not sore? Well, because your body's become more efficient, and what you just said, your recovery, because you're doing the right things, and you have done the right things over a long period of time, your recovery is so much better because your body's more efficient.
Our quote-unquote gains come from that recovery process. We tear the muscles, and that's where our gains come from.
We're not, as I've said before, we're not building anything in here. We're just breaking it down.
So with that, if you want to be sore, that's great. We can make you sore, but at the same time, you don't want to be sore for a week straight. Right. You want to give your body time to recover so that it can make that progress.
Exactly. So what else do we have? I know we've got one on there. I saw it earlier, and I know it's on there because it's one of my favorite topics.
I know. We're coming up on it. So with the gains and the soreness, one thing that, is going to help you with recovery, like I just mentioned, is drinking water. So she's
acting like she's reluctant to talk about this. She knows it's one of my favorites, but she had it on her notes before I said anything.
It was on here. No, our next topic is drinking water.
Exactly.
Garrett pushes water, and so because Garrett's always in people's ear, like, hey, you got to drink water. Clients are asking me, like, hey, why is Garrett always yelling at me to drink water?
So is that my wife? Is she starting with that too?
Water's beneficial for a lot of people. I'm sure you've heard it from Garrett for a long time. I'm going to give you 3 reasons, my top 3 reasons on why we should drink water. It helps remove the waste from the body. So we're not, hanging on to that. Allows our body to recover faster. It lubricates and cushions those joints. We need that.
Very much so. And actually, it's funny you picked those 3 because those are 3. The first one, I don't know that I've ever mentioned about it actually removing waste from the body.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And you're exactly right. But those are 3 that I typically don't hit on because I'm usually focused on thinking better, thinking clearer, losing fat, controlling cravings. But yeah, you're exactly right. And the waste. One of the things that you're talking about as far as waste, and you were addressing this because one of the best ways to handle soreness is taking in water. Okay. Yeah. Speak to that if you don't mind. I'm putting you on the spot here.
You're fine.
But if you're thinking about, all right, these 3 things, put them together for me: the soreness, the waste, and the water.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that burn. Everybody thinks about that lactic acid burn. It's building up in the muscles. That burn you're feeling is not the lactic acid building up during the exercise. But does it come into the muscles afterwards? Yes. And we need to get rid of it. Right. We need to help that recovery. And water will take that lactic acid out of your muscles.
Right. And that's part of the waste product.
Right.
The soreness that you feel the next day, again, the repair process going on, white blood cells going in. And actually, I always compare it to punching a hole in sheetrock.
Yeah.
You don't just start painting.
Right.
You got to tear out the paper of the sheetrock and all that stuff, and that's exactly what your white blood cells are doing, and that creates a pile of we got a pile of stuff over here, which is waste. Having enough hydration in your system is going to, is the truck coming to pick this up and get this out of our way? Great, we can get back to work.
And that's another thing I got on here that I wanted to talk about.
I'm jumping ahead.
Is a lot of our plasma. It's water. It carries nutrients and oxygen to the muscles, which is going to lead to that faster recovery.
Exactly.
So it's bringing the good stuff in and helping get rid of the bad stuff.
Right. Perfect.
And along with that, like I said, it lubricates and cushions those joints. For a lot of us that may feel our joints hurting when it gets cold, even though it doesn't get cold.
She's from New York. You got to understand why she's saying that. So that's why she says it doesn't get cold down here. So she's out in flip-flops when it's 4 degrees outside. So.
No, I get it though. And it definitely, you feel better when you drink more water. You really
true,
do.
True.
And then with that, Garrett, I'm going to ask you the golden question.
Uh-oh.
How much water?
Well, let's see. I'm not sure. It's off the top of my head. I'm going to see if I know this or not. So, but 100 ounces of water a day, every single day. Why is it 100 ounces of water? Well, it's recommended by the National Institute of Health, American Medical Association, American Dietary Association, Harvard Medical, Stanford Medical, Mayo Clinic, Cooper Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. I can keep going if you'd like me to. I think I'll stop now. Did I answer sufficiently?
I think you got it.
Good. Okay. I think I passed my test that day. So, fantastic.
He got me on board with the tracking.
Exactly.
These
with the rubber bands.
Our little bands. You move them down. I have a huge cup, so I only have 3.
Yeah, easily can do that in a day. So
for sure.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about the common questions. And we actually, when Katie approached me about this, these are questions that I've heard that all of us have experienced.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to come on and on the show mainly to show everybody. Look, I'm not the only one saying this. That we get these on a regular basis, but I'll ask you. You're going to get these same questions next week. Is that going to annoy you?
No.
Do you mind answering them?
Of course. I will always answer your questions. And I would love to keep doing this. If you have more questions, please reach out to us. I'd love to keep coming on and answering questions. So.
Absolutely. Definitely. And if you have any questions about that, in fact, we're gonna set up something, a Dropbox here at the facility. If anybody has any questions, wants to ask them anonymously, not a problem whatsoever. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can call us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. Reach out to me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. Reach out to Katie at KATIE. at personaledgefitness.com. That's also our website and Facebook page. Reach out to us at Twitter at Team PE. Listen, here always to answer your questions because that's just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, thank you, Garrett.
Thank you.